For our audience, a young generation, what do you do? If you could break it down for them, what is it 5 years from now or in 10 years from now they could be doing?
So my name is Adam Gazzaley. I'm a neuroscientist. I study how we can use technology to improve how our brain functions. We've relied around the world on pills to fix our brains when we're suffering, whether we have a problem with depression or inattention like ADHD, more trauma to the brain, post-traumatic stress disorder. This approach of using a pill just has not served us well enough. And so what I'm interested in is how do we use all the technology we have that deliver these powerful experiences that could fragment our attention and cause depression? How do we flip that around and use things like video games and other media interactions to improve brain function? And so that's what I do. I work with a diverse team of scientists and engineers, doctors, to create new media that actually improves brain function. And I think the most powerful example we have of this is a video game that I invented and my team developed and we did research on, and then submitted it to the FDA in the US, and it's now approved as a medicine. It's a video game as a medicine to treat ADHD. So we're very proud of that. It's just the beginning. I would say as we look into the future, the idea is that how do you take skills and programming, interactive media, things that you might think fit outside of medicine, but bring that into the medical field to help our brains?
I am a firm believer of that because I've been an avid gamer all my life. And even when I used to game while I was pretty young, it used to be a different zone altogether. That you just open up your game whenever we are with our friends who are also online and we're playing with them. You dissociate from your real life and you just dive into that zone. It's something different that kicks in.
Yeah, and we know that our brains have this incredible, tremendous capacity to change in response to experience. We call that neuroplasticity. And this is how we grow and how we learn, and it exists throughout our lives. All types of experience changes our brain, and video games are a really unique type of experience. They're fun, they're deeply engaging, you return to them again and again. So can we use that in a powerful way, not just to entertain? Entertaining is great, but use that to help improve how we interact with the world, how we pay attention, how we feel, how we make decisions, how we feel empathy and compassion. That's my interest in what we can do with video games.
Are there any particular problems that you see being solved in the next 2 to 5 years? What would they be particularly apart from ADHD?
Yeah, apart from ADHD, we have a reasonable amount of data on depression, major depressive disorder. We know that depression and anxiety and even suicide are rising in young people. And so can you use video games and other forms of interactive media or even passive media to help improve mood? That's an area of great interest to us. There's also data suggesting that dementia on the other side of the lifespan, where people are declining in terms of their thinking and their memory, can it be used to keep brains healthier for longer so that we live better lives? If we can't make ourselves live long, and I know a lot of smart people at this conference are working on that, how do we ensure that the time that we have here is high quality? So all of that is accessible to us, and we have data that's giving us a lot of encouraging results along those lines.
My next question was around dementia because having people who've got a sound mind going into the state of dementia becomes not just problematic for them, but also with the people around them.
Yeah.
And them being as a person who can make a lot of difference with the things that they have learned, their knowledge.
I'm very interested, my clinical specialty as a neurologist is dementia. And I'm very interested in how do we use these tools to at least delay the process of degeneration that impairs our cognition. I think there's a lot of optimism that we have about what we can do there.
I would also like to know what sort of interactive media, if you could break that down for our younger audience and the people from India who are experiencing or listening about this for the first time.
Video games are where we spend most of our time because they have the high degree of interactivity and they have these very complex reward systems, and they're fun. So people do them, and they do them deeply, and they do them for long periods of time. We're also interested now in things like virtual reality and multi-sensory immersive experiences. The hypothesis, and we're gaining data on this, that if you are in an environment that looks and feels more real, that you could move in and smell things, the power of that experience to change your brain will be greater. And so we're very interested in how do we deliver immersive experiences that have this powerful benefit. One area that we're experimenting with is nature exposure to digitally induced delivered nature and music. So when not everyone wants to exhaust themselves on a video game, not everyone's capable, especially if he's talking about dementia. So can you take in a beautiful forest and walk through it in a virtual world that's well controlled, listening to music that's inspiring you and uplifting you, and have a lot of the benefits that those real world experiences have? That's something that we're exploring right now.
I believe there's a lot of misconception around this also, that everyone would need to game if they want to go through this sort of a therapeutic experience.
It's therapeutic.
But that's not exactly what it is all about.
No, video games are just, they're a really powerful way of delivering experiences, but they are certainly not the only way. We're now experimenting with other approaches that are more passive, but also quite enjoyable and even relaxing.
Would we also be seeing some of it coming to the cinemas as well? Because I think that's a huge playground in the physical world.
Yeah, I am. We haven't done much work with group experiences, but I do find it very interesting and a powerful way to deliver at scale. So yeah, I have a lot of friends in the industry of film production, music, story, art, and trying to bring all these different elements together to create experiences that are powerful, but also do real positive things to the brain and the body is my interest. So wherever that takes me, I'm willing to explore.
What sort of stimulations that different people have that you could break it down for us?
Yeah.
What's it like for you when you're working on things like these?
I mean, there's an incredible variability in how people like to be stimulated and like their experiences. Some people like really intense, fast-paced, challenging experiences. Others like slower, more thoughtful engagement. Some people like to be alone. Other people like person interactions. Some people like doing things eyes closed. Others like a lot of visual stimulation. And that's part of the fun of building so many things, is that you create different tools, because I do view these as like therapeutic instruments that appeal to different people's sensibilities. So we see an incredible amount of variability in the environments that people like to be in.
I was also thinking about this while we were coming in the cab. Language also sometimes becomes a barrier. And India being a country wherein we've got diverse languages, we've also got dialects. So what's something that could help break down that barrier? Apart from gaming, of course. Gaming and music are two such things that don't really need that language barrier.
Almost everything we do doesn't require language. So I couldn't comment on how to deal with all the language challenges that other interventions face, because we don't face them as much, because from video games to our nature experiences to our music experiences, meditation experiences, the language components are pretty low level. We're now moving things into multiple countries, and it happens pretty rapidly because it's just like a little bit of translation that's required. And then most of the experience itself is not language based.
So what are the few challenges that you're currently facing apart from the language barrier? We've got that out of the way.
Yeah, that's for our particular tools, that's not a big challenge. For us, it's really just bringing to the world a new type of medicine that is not in the paradigm. The paradigm right now is that if there's something wrong with your brain, you find a pill to fix it or a knife to cut it, right? It's like, that's what medicine is in surgery. And I am telling people that experiences are medicine. Experiential medicine for the mind is one of the most ancient and powerful approaches. And so I think it's intuitive to a lot of people, but it is a paradigm shift. It's not how regulatory agencies look at medicine. We've been able to move into that space. It's not how insurance companies think about reimbursing it. It's not how a lot of physicians think about prescribing it. And so there's challenges everywhere that we have to face. But that's part of the pathway of doing something new. So it's fine.
Is it also in terms of educating the people about
education, awareness? Just paradigms, when they're true paradigms like this one is, are hard to even know that you're in them. And so you don't know that there are walls around you that are restricting your vision outside of them until you're confronted with it. And some people easily can move out of paradigms and other people never can. So we're trying to tell you that medicine is not a pill. A pill is an example of medicine, but there are many more. And that is a paradigm change to a lot of people. When I went to medical school, that was the paradigm that I learned, is that pills are medicine. Pills are not medicine, right? They're a type of medicine, but they are not medicine in itself. Medicine is a much bigger category. And so that is what I try to help instill and pass on, and it's challenging.
Do you think, or do you feel, or do you believe that anytime soon this could be replacing the traditional sort of medicines?
Yeah, 100%. I think, even we showed on our data with ADHD that our video game, without any other medicine on board, has an important, meaningful impact on the children and young adults that were in our studies. So I think for sure this can replace pharmaceuticals in many ways and also work quite well with it, maybe at lower doses. So the problems with molecular medicine and pills are that we tend to use them in isolation, like they are just going to be a fix in themselves. And then because of that, we have to raise the doses to very high levels and we get all sorts of side effects. I think that they would work well together because we could drop the doses down, don't have to rely on them solely.
They could be used as a supplement.
Yeah, and at a lower dose.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Adam. Thank you
Nice.
for having
Thank
us.
you.